are getting ready to talk about Watchmen season 1, episode 7, mini spoilers. So I'll start the conversation off by asking you ladies, did you enjoy episode 7?
I think probably I enjoyed this one maybe more than all of them so far. I've really struggled with it up to now.
Right.
There's a lot of horror in the story. There
In
really
gore,
is.
yes.
And it just started to kind of like really make more sense now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. So see right there, first mistake, hide that. Okay, there you go. Good. So overall, we think. Okay, let me just say this: I'm loving this show so much that I want to talk about it with friends and family. That's how we got here. So that's where I'm at. It's not a perfect show, but to be honest, the definition of perfect sort of has been a little skewed because we're more sophisticated of an audience now than we were in the past. So there were some things that happened that I didn't sort of like, but overall, I am the kind of person that I can't watch stuff over and over again, and I have found myself watching stuff over and over again and liking it. So that's sort of where my scale is. If I can watch something more than twice and still be okay with it, then it is up to snuff. It's good, and that's sort of how I feel about this show.
I'm with you.
You know, I came to this show. Oh, this is Carol. Can you guys hear me?
Yes,
we can.
Okay. Yeah. So I came to this show like late, and Dee mentioned it, and I thought, oh, I've never watched that show. And so I kind of binge watched it and just fell in love with it. I love the action. I love that there is a strong female character who is strong and powerful. She has a lot of power, and I like that. She's not just portrayed as someone who's kicking in doors, although she does kick in doors on occasion. That's not the only. There is balance, absolutely. So yeah, and I enjoyed episode 7 as well, and I think it was Annette who said it was one of her favorite episodes thus far. I kind of agree with her because the one episode 6, I couldn't even watch it. Was that the one in Tulsa where the lynching was taking place, and I couldn't even watch it.
6 was in New York. That's when they were in New York.
6
That's mostly
okay.
6 was mostly by Will Reeves.
Yes,
right. Yeah, that's the one I couldn't.
The one
watch.
She was really under the influence of the nostalgia, and she was really seeing things through her father's life. Yeah,
right.
Absolutely, that's the one I couldn't watch. But that was just too much for me.
That was hard. That was really hard. That was really painful. But I think it started making a lot of sense to me at that point.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right.
Hold on.
Yeah, it tied it together.
That's me. Okay, sorry about that. Technical difficulties. So, yeah, 6 is it's a lot. And I was okay with everything except for the backstory of the grandfather. It sort of need to be said, you know, what makes him the man he is.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sort of like, when I watch it, I have to try to make myself sit still because some of that stuff is just an uncomfortable topic for me to watch all of that.
Sure.
But it needs to be seen. It was one guy. This happened, I know, maybe 2 years ago. It was a guy on the radio, and he was advocating for people to go see I Am Not Your Negro, which was like not quite a biopic, but it had some elements of was it James Baldwin's writings, and it was talking about lynching in America and stuff. And his comment basically was, we know that this stuff is not easy for you guys to see, but if you don't see it, you get sort of far removed from it. And it for people that stay in the loop on stuff like that, these are the same people that when it's time to vote, they get up. They're not making excuses. Well, you know, I gotta do this, because they sort of keep that mindset of being in the loop. So even though stuff makes me uncomfortable, I'm trying to make myself, at least now as I get a little bit older, make myself still watch it and be engaged with it, because, you know, if it's, whether it's fiction or nonfiction, is a real part of the human experience.
Yeah.
And trying to run from it doesn't make it not real.
Right.
So that's sort of why I make myself watch it. But yeah, I was a little uncomfortable as well.
I
That's brutal.
I felt it was very, it was hard to watch, but I was still engaged.
Right.
And I couldn't turn away from it. It was like I needed to see what was going to happen next, because finding out that the smaller baby was ended up being his wife, that's kind of, I mean, it was a whole lot happening.
Right. But like I said, it was good. I needed to see it. Like I said, for myself, I watch TV to escape, honestly. So I tend to be the kind of person that doesn't want a lot of drama. I want to laugh. I want to laugh and let life be life. But that person who made the comment about being able to confront things and address them, it touched me, because that's true. That when I try to, when I want to try to be in my bubble of security and everybody's good and then I'll see something on the news and I'll be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened. And it'll be on my mind for weeks and weeks and weeks. I need to work on just being able to address the realities of life, period. So for me, it was like, hey, I know you don't like this, but
I think I'm one of those people who are kind of, I don't necessarily agree with that person's point of view, because I'm like you in that I do not look at things. I don't look at things for entertainment that are going to upset me and
right.
mad or hurt me or leave me crying. That's not fun for me.
Right.
And that statement that person made kind of harkens back to a statement a cousin told me one time when that movie, I think it was Precious, came out. And
I never saw
told
that.
me that I needed to go see that so that I could be thankful for the life that I had and the fact that I was not raised that way. And I looked right at her and I said, I do not need to go see that movie for me to be thankful for the life I have.
Right.
Very grateful for the life I have. And I know what I have been spared of. I don't need to go and see that so that I can absorb that and be able to be thankful. So I'm kind of like, I kind of resent people who say that sort of things or kind of intimate that sort of thing toward people, because not everybody thinks that way. And many of us already have a sufficient sense of awareness. I feel like I put myself through enough of slavery, Holocaust education, all those things. I did it when I was younger. I don't feel like I need to do that to myself anymore.
Right.
It was very difficult to see the episode, but it helped. I think what it really helped do is give the perspective that her grandfather had, which was like, we didn't really know anything about that man. I feel like all we knew is that, okay, this man supposedly hung the chief of police. He's like 100 years old. So how did he really do that? And then why would he do it? Because that seemed to be a good man. So now getting that background, it's like, oh, okay. Now I get like where he was coming from in his thinking, the things he experienced, what he went through. And so this is where he was going with what he did. The one thing that I think kind of messed me up in that whole episode was, we're starting from the beginning of this show with the premise of what occurred in Oklahoma City in 1921. And for many of us, not having had that as part of our formative years of education, a lot of us came to that knowledge in our near adulthood, or even older adulthood, finding out about that. Because even if you feel like you were well educated in history, that was not taught to you. That was
that's for me. That was an awakening.
Yeah. And so the thing that I felt that kind of, we're going with that whole premise. This is an alternate history kind of story, but that is like a history that belongs to us in our present time. What I didn't like was when they brought in the whole mesmerism thing, and they took that whole invented fake part and kind of used it as as something that was happening as a reality, which I felt like, you know what, this kind of weakens and takes away from that original story that was true and that has not been well supported and put out there as part of history that we all ought to know about. Them bringing that fake aspect of the mesmerism, and okay, we're showing movies now that basically cause people to be hypnotized, and now they turn around and they kill each other, and then he used that same sort of training to cause the chief of police to go ahead and I'm going to flash this light in your eyes and you're going to be hypnotized and now you're going to hang yourself. I didn't like that. That part.
But
go ahead, Carol.
Zanette, you know why that was. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, go ahead. Go ahead. I'm done.
I'll totally forget my train of thought if I don't.
Yeah.
You know why that was. They had to bring in, there's always this sense of a need to justify behavior and a need to soften the blow. Mm-hmm. There's always that need by the powers that be, mainstream media, be it the majority, the ones that are in control, whatever label or title you want to give that. Right. There's always that need to soften the blow. Mm-hmm. And even though what took place was reality, and we all knew it was reality, that was put in, I think, just to kind of distract you from the reality of what the truth was. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It was put in my opinion, to say, yeah, you know, this happened, it sucked out loud, but let's kind of make a little bit of light of it, if it's even possible to lighten the mood regarding this whole situation. That's how I felt. When I saw that part where they were all in the movie theater and the one woman was there crying and she didn't know why she had killed someone and she couldn't believe she had killed someone because after she came out of the trance, that was the first thing I thought about what you just said.
Yeah.
I was like, this has absolutely no point of reality with what actually took place, but it makes it easier for me to not negate my responsibility, but to at least minimize it to some degree. I felt it was done intentionally.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. I have a different opinion. I don't have the information. I was supposed to come home after church and look it up because it was a podcaster I was listening to. It had to have been this year, and he was giving the history of mesmerism and how there was a scientist named Mesmer and how it was a real thing that they were trying to explain the mechanics of magnetism and how it allowed people to be coerced into doing things. So I didn't take it that they were using it to justify it. I thought they just used it to I guess add another element to the story. That not only do you have, this place where, Black people sometimes, gather and then they sort of attack, but you have the element of others putting another dynamic into the story that caused what could have been maybe a minor situation to be a big issue in the theater that caused, death and chaos. So I wasn't quite sure of where I heard the information, but once I find it, I'll text it to you guys. But yeah, I think it is a real element. Now, did they use projectors and all that? No, but it was a book, and it was a man named Mesmer that was doing that. That was explaining how to use, I guess,
science. It's a pseudoscience. It's not a real valid science.
Right.
Yeah, and so that I kind of felt was terrible because that just kind of made the whole I really shouldn't think that anybody would be actually looking at this story and thinking that they're gaining real growth or knowledge or anything out of it.
Right.
But there's some people that really, that's all the education they ever give themselves is media. And if they actually thought, well, okay, Oklahoma City, true, and then this story, oh, that's supposed to be true too. And then they find out, oh, well, mesmerism isn't real. Then maybe the whole Oklahoma thing isn't really real either. But you know what? I'm not responsible for other people's ignorance. So
That's true.
That is true.
But like I said, I liked it because that made more sense to the whole. That to me, the movie theater part, that was. I mean, I don't have a feeling on it. It was a sad turn of events. But the situation with the Will Reeves and Judge, that's the only thing that I could think of because he's not this frail old man that we originally thought.
Right.
But neither could I see him carrying around this 40-year younger dude and hanging him either. So to me it fit in place. It fit in place.
It did. It basically made the story like, okay, that is how it happened. That's how it could have happened. Yeah. But I guess that's me and my touchiness about that's just not real. That's not real science.
That's a pseudoscience.
Oh man. Especially since they came out the gate with the Tulsa story, and I was just blown away by the first episode, just out, and I was like, "Happened?" And to that, a little bit, and just now finding out about Greenwood and Black Wall Street, and it's like I'm getting asked, "Did that really happen?" And I'm like, "Yes, that really happened."
Well, like Zanette said, it made a good point of there are things in our history that we typically just were not taught, and there was a reason for that. But let me switch gears really quickly, guys, because I just want to ask, and I skipped through episode 6 quite a bit because, like I said, it was too intense for me, and so I couldn't watch it. But so tie in for me the homosexual part because I'm lost.
Oh, Lord have mercy. Yeah.
Can somebody explain? I'm not even trying to be funny.
No,
Yeah, what was
the
the purpose?
trying to be funny. I'm just like, I was just kind of like, oh, hell. Ugh.
I didn't get it. And maybe I didn't get it again because I didn't watch it succinctly. I was like, okay, fast forward because I can't take this. So what was the homosexual thing about? Like, wasn't he married and then he was sleeping with the what was the purpose?
I guess that guy
there was an inkling there was an inkling of a possible situation when the blonde guy, Mr. Metropolis, because I can't remember his name, initially met Will Reeves, and he initially met him because he was trying to recruit him for the Minutemen, which was going to be like this marketing slash propaganda slash whatever you want to call it, but this idea that there were people out there that were willing to take up justice in their own hands, and they were doing it for the good of the people. There was there was a slight caress of hands when they initially met, and then that eventually led to the sexual relationship that they had. So my understanding or my impression is that based on that initial meeting, they both realized they were, susceptible to that idea, that thought, that yearning, and then they acted on it. But then when you go to maybe it's episode 6, at the beginning of episode 6, there's a conversation, even though Petey said that American Hero was not, historically accurate. There was a scene where the police want to take a picture of Will Reeves because they were trying to get something, I guess, to blackmail him where he wouldn't
they
give
wanted,
away that
they wanted
that
him to
guy
get
was sleeping with him
too. They wanted him to get the tape that the blonde one.
No, I thought they wanted his face because they knew he had tape. They knew there was some tapes, but they wanted his face so they could in other words, you have this on me and I have this on you.
Yeah, but their thing was, we're going to take a picture of you and you're going to go and get that tape that what's his name has in his safe that has all these other things of other men. And then once you bring that tape to us, then we'll tear up your picture. That's what he told him. And
so all that to me means that the Metropolis guy was homosexual and he was very active and he was recruiting.
Okay. Honest to God, because I couldn't figure out how that. I just really thought I'd missed something extremely important because I'm like, wait, how did we get here? Because I couldn't figure out how it tied in. So,
Yeah.
okay.
So basically, what
Okay.
I'm hearing you say is that, because I'm seeing this American Hero, or what is it called, the show
American Hero
that everyone's watching,
Mhm.
and it's actually pretty much based in truth, but who has this truth that they were able to script it and make it into a show that has got people like, glued to their television sets in this
Right.
time, you know?
Right.
Mhm.
Because if her grandfather is such an unknown individual, and the only reason we know what she knows is because we are experiencing his memories with her.
Mhm.
How is
Right.
that out there as a scripted TV series?
Because it was certain things that, like, when they did, like, they were doing like press tours. You saw when they were all together and they took pictures. So it was things they did that was, again, just like branding, just like marketing. Hey, we're the Minutemen. We're vigilantes, but we're good vigilantes. So that was out there. There were things that common people would know because they were very obvious about it. But his color and sexuality were obviously not
Yeah, it wasn't.
Part
out
of
That
it.
there.
part was actually part of the series. That's the thing. It's like, how
Right.
is his sexuality part of the series when that is like as closeted as could be, really?
Right. Right.
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, I think I don't know, of course, but I would honestly say it was explained when they had the two actors, and he was telling him, the blonde Metropolis was telling Will, or Metropolis was telling Hood that, um make sure you keep covered at all times. So that was the bigger issue than the other things. For whatever reason, them being homosexual was known or whispered or suspected, but for sure his ethnicity was not. But you saw it twice. Once when they were in the bed and they were talking, and he told him, keep covered. And secondly, when he was telling him, when he was in the phone booth and he was trying to get help, and he was like, well, that's black folk problem. So they did both of those scenarios, in my opinion, just to edify that, hey, race was not the main platform for this group. They were doing justice for mainstream America, not black folks justice. And that you're
Right.
black should not be something that everybody would embrace, because he actually said everybody wouldn't be okay with that. So
Mm-hmm.
that's why we as audience would know, but it wouldn't be historically known that he was a black man, because they hid it that long, forever. And I think even if you go to the very beginning, there was a guy that was found in the river. They said, oh no, that was part of the show. Okay, that was part of the show. Because I was thinking about the guy who was drowned in the river, and they said people think that's me and it's not me and stuff, but that was part of the show. So yeah, I don't think anyone would have known he was a black man other than Metropolis and maybe a few others, but it wasn't uh it was not said loudly and proudly. I'll say that.
Mm.
So I'm going to the next topic. This one, the looks that Angela was giving Lady True were killing me. I'm like, are they about to fight? What is going on with these looks? They were eye acting well. I'm like, girl, if eyes could cut, oh my goodness. When I thought about those two together, I was thinking about I think I already said at the beginning, but it's probably going to be spoilers, or probably spoilers, or likely spoilers. I think True is going to not be a good character at the end, because I was thinking about, she keeps saying she's doing stuff for the good of people, but she idolizes Spike,
Mm.
I think. And
Mhm.
I was thinking about at the very beginning of the series, they had the white the white clothes sheriff being chased down by the black hooded Bass Reeves. And I think by Angela's signature color is black usually. And True keeps on wearing white. And I'm like, I think they're trying to tell us something. But I guess we'll know in 2 episodes. But I sort of think True isn't going to be a good character. And the way Angela looks at her.
Very clear. She's not a good character. I'm not under any illusions that woman is a good character. Oh no. She is out for herself, and whatever will happen, she ultimately has to come out as this is going to make her more money and more power.
Right.
That's all there is to it with that.
Agreed.
That's all there is to it with her.
Well, I think when she confessed in the last episode that she had injected, the daughter was actually her mother. When I heard her say that, yeah. So she had to inject the mom's memories into Bien. Isn't that the daughter's name? Bien.
Yeah.
So she had to inject her daughter, and I'm using air quotes here, with the mom's memories. And I just thought, okay, there is nothing good going to come from this. There just was nothing good going to come from that. That was my take.
It's unbelievable. I mean, we meet her basically bringing a child to a couple that she's like, I want your property because you don't have any legacy, so you don't need any of this stuff. Let me give you what you really want. And it's a kid, and I made this kid.
I kind of liked her.
So take it. Take it now.
You like she was taking charge and calling names. You're like, look, this is what I want.
Let me tell you why I like. Can I please tell you
this out?
Tell us.
Let me tell you why I loved that scene. Okay, because so many shows portray women as being the lesser character, the secondary character, the person who's going to be the quote unquote cleanup woman, for lack of a better phrase. I loved that she came in. She wasn't loud. She wasn't vulgar. She didn't raise her voice. She didn't kick in the door. She came in. She was very poised. She was very pink pill, for lack of a better word. And she put the kid literally on the table. But let me tell you what else it said about her. I mean, I know this sounds I sound like a homicidal maniac right now because I'm like thinking that was great.
Baby's on the table.
She literally put the kid on the table. But I love the fact also that even in doing that, guys, she had done her homework and she went in that room and went into that home knowing, I know what your soft spots are. I know what your needs are. And I know exactly what I need to do to get what I want from you. If you don't like her, if you think she's a mean person or, an evil person, and she probably is, let's all admit that. But I love the fact that she went in with a goal and she had a game plan to reach the end game. And I love that. Right. I just love that about her. So.
Right.
But that's the sicko in me. So.
well, that was the thing. Like, that's another reason why I like this series so much. It really does allow the female characters to be self-sufficient and capable. And it doesn't try to placate the audience. Either you like this journey and these ladies or you don't. And I respect them for that, because a lot of the times I think we had mentioned balance earlier. I love that Angela was kicking butt and she was making breakfast. Like, we have facets, we're not just in the kitchen or we're out there beating up people in the streets. Like, we have many facets as women and as individuals, as humans. And for them to acknowledge it and be unapologetic about it, I thought that was refreshing. Now, on the flip side of that, since I love the show so much, I spent a lot of time listening to other podcasters. They didn't like what they considered the woke culture of this show, that it was so-called it was pandering to Me Too feminist agendas. So that was something that I tried to be as pragmatic as I digested their comments on it. But that's the flip side of that. For every strong female character that's unapologetic and capable, that has men in the world that they're traveling in, if that man is not exactly the same counterpart, it's considered woke. Why is he so meek? That's what they were saying about the husband. And I didn't understand where
Cal.
he went when they got shot. Cal, where did Cal go when she got shot? I'm like, what happened? What happened to Cal? So I'm happy they finally explained some of it, because I was trying, like I said, I was trying to be as fair as I could be. I could see people having an issue with that. Like the first thing that they had an issue with was the first episode. Not only was it talking about Klan's people taking down a city and killing people, but it had the father carrying the son and the wife carrying the gun. That was a problem for them. I tried to justify it, but even to me, I was like, I wonder. But honestly, I can't say I really don't think it was woke, to be honest. I really think
That's foolish.
It was a thoughtful consideration, because if you assume that there's a little decency in the world, maybe he was holding his son because he could carry him faster, he was stronger. Maybe the wife could carry the gun, is just as capable. Why would you assume it's woke?
Exactly.
But as soon as we
He was the
assume
one
that the
who knew
woman
where
can
they
do
were
it,
going.
you hear
He was
that.
leading them. He knew where they were going. He was leading them. He was making sure that they got there as most expeditiously as possible, because there were people waiting on them to get them out of town. You know, to me, that kind of touchiness is ridiculous. That's just ridiculous. Please let me go back.
That's what I heard about. So I mentioned that when Carol said that, because just as much as we greatly appreciate it, I can see the other side of it being, well, you just doing that because. I'm like, but I mean, it made sense. It made sense. This story has really, it's had some issues, but I have been enjoying these episodes. Like I don't think it wasn't a lot of consideration when they developed this world and they executed these episodes, because it's a lot. It's tight. Now the last episode, this one 7 was the worst in my opinion. It was the worst as a when you talk about or think about the dialogue between characters, like Jane and Lauren. That was sort of a problem for me. And even Joe and Lauren was a problem for me. But overall, I wouldn't say it's bad because of everything else. Usually the scripts are pretty tight. They say exactly what you need to know and they move on. They're not doing that thing where they're telling you stuff 15 times as if you can't remember what you just heard 30 minutes ago. So I appreciate that. That storytelling.
I'm sorry, who are the characters, Jane and Lauren? I think I'm not following who that is.
Jane was the widow, and Lauren was the Agent Blake. When they were talking and Agent Blake was telling the wife that Will killed your husband, they were going back and forth, and she was pretending not to know. And at the end, she was like, "Oh, well, without being a president is small potatoes." And then she pulls out the remote and has to figure out which is the right button to open up the trap floor. That was a little corny to me, but like I said, I can accept it because overall their stories they tell you exactly what you need. They're not saying it 5 different times. They're not, slow walking the information. They tell you and they move on. It's just that those little things that I was like, maybe they could have did a little bit better, but those are my only problems with episode 7.
Can I just throw something out? I mean, it's going back, but I know we're not supposed to be going back that far. But I just wanted to say something about Lady True. My issue with Lady True was that it wasn't so much for me that she went in there all prepared. What I saw was that she contrived and exploited their pain because of the fact that she knew this.
Absolutely.
She knew this was a couple. Okay, she owns all of these fertility clinics. These people went to go and have a child. She had it set up so that this woman's eggs were stated to be non-viable or whatever the case may be, so that they could not have a child. She manipulated them and prevented
100%.
them from having the child that they would have had, that would have allowed them to have ties to their land, because it would have passed on to their kid. And then, okay, now I'm going to exploit you for what I want out of you later. I hated that. I hated that about her. And that is what makes her, to me, a nasty, manipulative, hateful character. I hate that. I just,
I didn't even think of that. I didn't even put that together.
I love that about her.
That's why I feel like she's really, really bad, and she's really going to be worse in the future.
But Zanette, can I just say this really quick? And I know we're not supposed to go back, but can I say this?
Yeah.
That's one of the things I loved about her. Do you understand? Just stay with me, because I know I sound like a psycho. I sound like a horrible person, but just stay with me. Do you understand the degree of planning? Because you have to remember, they tried for a child like 10 years ago, if I remember correctly. I think they said it had been 10 years since they went to these fertility clinics and everything was null and void. So for 10 years or better, this woman planned this. She was meticulous.
Right.
She was careful. She had a game plan, and she was detailed, literally down to the wire, the minute when she needed to bring this child in and produce this kid and say, hey, you want a kid? Here you go. So yes, on the one end of the spectrum, she's a horrible person. How dare that bitch? Okay, I give it to you. No question there. But the part of me, the pragmatic part of me, the pragmatist in me says, oh, the fact that you could be that patient, which I could never have been. I would have, like 6 months in when she went for the fertility thing, I would have said, okay, here's the kid, here you go, give me your land or whatever. But she was so calculating in what she knew she was going to need to do. And she held that ace. Stay with me. She held that ace in her pocket for 10 years or better, because she knew the time was coming and she knew what her long-term plan was. That makes me like her even more. I mean, I know she's horrible, but
use your powers for good.
She didn't want to use her powers for good. That's the other thing I like about her. She had an option of using her powers for good, and she said, I'm not going to use my powers for good. I'm going to use my powers for evil. I love it.
Okay.
Oh my gosh. Can I ask a question, ladies?
Yes,
that's too funny.
So was the baby male?
Come on.
Yeah, it was a boy.
It was a boy.
I did. Oh, okay, I thought you were going to ask, was it actually theirs?
They were the Kents. they were the Kents, and they got a baby from somebody. Do we think this is Clark Kent's family?
No. What they said, again, this is based on me listening to other podcasters. In this world, generally, there is no need for superheroes. The only superhero they had was Superman. So in the original novel, he paid a little respect by, likening some of the story elements. So that's why they had like the how the episode ends with something coming out of the sky, like how Superman was, came to Earth, and the family is named Clark. I think his name is Kent though. Superman was Clark Kent, so the actual name of Superman's family would have been Kent, not Clark. But they still use that little tie-in just to be like, I guess, pay a little homage to the Superman. But no, it's not Superman. Okay. It's just they just sort of tease it a little bit, basically. Carol, you have snowflakes, Carol. Oh my God, that looks so cute.
I'm over the top. I'm ridiculous. Yeah, snowflakes, the trees, the lights. Look at this. How ridiculous is that? My poor husband, right? The fact that he puts up with me. Yeah, it's ridiculous. Go ahead.
Beautiful.
Now, Shanae, I think you had said at one point some things were confusing you. So what was not so clear when last we spoke?
Okay,
Or did you get it?
The only person that I'm having a problem with is the guy that's on Mars. Who is he?
Oh
The
yeah.
servant,
Yeah.
the mini clone folk.
Yeah.
Right.
He's scary.
No, I don't understand.
Yeah,
Okay. He
I think honestly, okay, I'm going to assume, and I am okay with being very wrong. I'm to assume that none of us four have read the novel, so we don't have the backstory
No.
of. Okay,
Yeah.
so from what
Right.
I understood, what he said in the actual miniseries was that he was the one that constructed the squid monster in 1985, and he did that to bring world peace. And we don't know why he's on. They said Europa. He's in the moon that's gravitating around Jupiter. So they say they think he's not on Mars so much as Europa, but they don't know why he's on Europa. They don't know why he's trapped on Europa. They don't know why he keeps on trying to escape Europa. So honestly, I think he's supposed to be the part that keeps us like engaged, where everything else is based on, sort of linear storytelling, where everything is there's a definitive timeline of things. This happens and this happens and this happens. I think the Bite story adds a little mystery because it's sort of left field. You're like, what are we trying to get from this? All we know, the only connection we have to Bite story in our world is the fact that Lady True has a sculpture or a statue of him in her home. So we know he's important to her, if no one else.
And she bought his company.
But
Don't forget that.
he's gonna have to be a reveal. His story is gonna be I'm assuming gonna be a big reveal, because it really doesn't make a lot of, like, I don't get it myself. I'm like, I've watched it over. I'm like, I'm not getting it. I'm not getting it.
that is
There's
the
a lot of
only
theories.
part.
There's a lot of theories. Okay, these are the couple of theories that I've heard, and I'll just mention the two that I can remember. And again, this is my understanding or perception of what I heard. My understanding was Bite in the original story he wanted to kill Dr. Manhattan. For whatever reason, he didn't like him. He envied him for his power, whatever. And he did. I forgot what they called him. But if you remember the scene where Laurie is tied up in the J.C. Penney's abandoned building, they had these little structures they were securing around her. Whatever they are, they supposedly block Dr. Manhattan's juju. He used those things to block Dr. Manhattan and was able to bring the squid into Manhattan and kill 3 million people. So after he did all that and tried to justify it, I did this because it was going to bring world peace. I think he was basically left to his own whatever, because Dr. Manhattan got tired or frustrated or whatever and just left. I think after Korea, he sort of left and wasn't really paying attention to humans. Vietnam, he wasn't paying attention to humans in America and all that kind of stuff. He sort of went to his own. So somebody said that maybe he made a deal with Dr. Manhattan and told Dr. Manhattan to imprison him as punishment, or someone else said if it wasn't Dr. Manhattan that imprisoned him, he imprisoned himself. Now, how he does this, I don't really know, but that's why I said for his particular storyline, I will probably be waiting to that last episode 9 to get clarity, because I don't know what I'm looking at.
So wait a second.
It's interesting, but I don't know what I'm looking at.
You're saying that Blake imprisoned himself on this moon?
Yes, like he said he tried to set it up like where he couldn't, like basically I'm going to imprison myself for 8 years or 4 years or whatever. Because it was one comment he said where I thought this would be paradise. Like, so to me, when the way he said it, it seemed like he was sort of okay with being there. So I forgot who it was that made the comment, but there was a comment that maybe he put himself in this predicament, or maybe a power that be like Dr. Manhattan did it. But I sort of like the Dr. Manhattan idea better, because if he sort of imprisoned him and then he went to become a human, that would explain why he's doing all this to get off, get out of this predicament he's in. But honestly, it makes a lot of sense that we don't know, because they're not spending a lot of time with him. They're spending just enough time to let you know that there's another storyline going on, and all we know is we catch them once a year. We talk about this man, so it's okay. He'll be the last mystery. Is my thought. I don't get it myself. Like, I honestly thought he was Lady True's dad.
Ew.
I sort of thought that was Lady True's dad. I really did. But when Angela and her were talking about how her dad would be arriving soon and stuff, honestly, I was like, okay, because is he dead? Is that why he's a statue? Because he's dead? Because if he's dead, she wouldn't have been able. She would. It would. I don't understand the reason why you would start programming your baby / mom and not be programming your dad / son. But for whatever reason, she didn't really disclose to Angela anything other than he'll be coming soon. So
I don't think your thought is negated by that. I think it's still really possible that he could be her father. I think that's really possible.
True.
I don't think anything that you just came up with would negate that.
You know what? I guess I'm honestly thinking he died. You know why? Okay, thank you. The reason why I think it's not possible is because I sort of think she bought that property just to get his body, but he would have died once he came to Earth. Like, I'm doing all kinds of weird side thoughts.
You're thinking way too hard about it. You don't need to think that hard about it.
I swear I wasn't going to say it, but I was sitting here and I'm thinking, what in the holy hell, man? I'm like, dang, take a breath.
So that's it.
You think that
whatever
her dad?
That's too funny. That is too funny.
So since y'all shot down my hope, let's move on. Is Dr. Manhattan black or white? I'm confused now.
Oh yeah, that's funny.
I know he's blue, but he's black and white.
Dr. Manhattan is blue.
Blue. I'm going with blue. It's not black or white. He's blue.
But the person that he was before he became Dr. Manhattan was John. Was he black or white?
He was a Caucasian man.
Because I'm confused.
He was a Caucasian man.
Oh, I see what you're asking. I
was thinking he was a white guy until the whole he's Cal. So why is he a black man? Unless he was a black man. And he was a black man.
He wasn't.
And then, hold on.
No. Hang on. He was not a white man until he became Cal. He was a Caucasian man until he became Dr. Manhattan and became blue. And then after he was blue, whatever that we're going to see tonight for the episode, he was in Vietnam and fell in love with our heroine and decided somehow he wanted to stay with her, and it would necessitate him becoming a black man to be her husband so that he could be with her.
So he was white. He became blue.
And now
then he chose to be black.
He chose to be black, or I'm not even sure if he chose to be the man he is, or he's just contained. He's contained in this little thing in the cover of a black man. That's where I think he actually is. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Well, because Cal is everything.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes, he is.
It's a lot of
That's
crazy.
Yes,
interesting.
he is.
So, Zanette, let me ask you, are you asserting that he is, okay, John, the black guy, is the host body, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cal.
But are
Cal
you,
is the black guy.
Cal.
Kyle, I'm sorry. So he's the host body. But are
Yeah.
you saying that the other guy isn't even in him? He's like just somewhere else and then just using his brain to, like, am I overthinking this?
I'm not sure.
No,
That
it's
part
him.
I'm not
He's
sure of.
inside.
I think that I don't even know if that will become clear tonight. But whatever she
Yeah.
took out of his head and held up after she smashed his poor head in with the hammer,
Yes,
that's
Right.
what Dr. Manhattan is. He's in that little disc thing.
Right.
However he chose
see.
to microsize
Manifest himself
into
into
that little thing.
Got you.
He is in Cal, and it cost Cal his memories of his whole life after this so-called accident that
In which he was killed. I mean, that's pretty clear.
yeah.
Kyle was killed in this accident. I mean, he was a dead person.
Yeah.
Is that
Right.
am I overthinking that, or do you guys?
No,
I don't know if I've actually even heard that part myself, honestly. Maybe
they'll
I
have,
missed it.
I'm guessing.
they'll have to explain it for clarity, of course. But I think that the symbol that Angela took out was basically a blocker. Because when she took it out, he actually became blue again. So I don't think that the disc was him so much as he was him, but that little symbol was blocking him from understanding, and he became blue once she took it out. But we've already established that I go everywhere with this, so we'll see what it really was.
Yeah.
But that's sort of what I thought it was, because he became blue after she took it out of him.
Okay.
So, but I still wasn't clear about the Jewish / black / blue thing, because I guess I was sort of getting confused. I was thinking about, honestly, I was thinking about how Hooded Justice was thought to be a white man this whole time, and how he was a black man. So I was like, is John really white? Is it possible that they've really not been clear about his story as well? But I guess I'm hoping that tonight they'll try to explain it. It'll make sense, because right now I'm a little scrambled on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I hate that she had to kill him so bad, and I really think that Angela is gonna die tonight. I don't know, and I hope I'm wrong.
Wait,
I really do.
Why do you think she's gonna die tonight?
Dude, I'm the most forever, never, happily ever after person you've ever met in your life. But in the trailer, he said something like, "You can't stop this," and I can't. He said something like, "I know I told you can't stop this, but I know you're gonna still do whatever." And then when they say that, you see a guy with a gun pointing at Angela. So I'm like, dude, this could be it. Now, hopefully it's not.
It's not.
But
I'm not even any question that it is. No, not at all. No, this is not Walking Dead. They don't see
that's what I love about you, Sinead. Like, I don't accept anything. Thank you. I need that because
no Walking Dead.
Honestly, I'm trying to say this out loud to be a big girl and try to embrace the possibility where I don't break when it happens, or if it happens.
This is not Walking Dead. You're not going to kill off your
There's
heroine.
a greater part of me that really wants you to be right, and I really need your strongness to say no, you're wrong, and I hope you're right. I really hope you are.
You are completely wrong. She will not
Yeah.
die in this episode at all.
Yeah, I agree.
At all.
I can't even see that.
Whatsoever.
Dude, I've been worried.
No. You know what? You can't. You also have to remember you cannot trust the previews, because in one of the actually that was the preview for the episode we just saw, they did a shot in which Lady Trieu was. I think she was going to give her that injection, and she was starting to exclaim, and then they showed like how her eyes turned into like the mosaics in a church or something. And then when they actually showed the episode, it wasn't even like that. So they just cut things together to mess with you.
Thank you. And I accept it. That's why I need people like you in my life, because I try to be pragmatic, and then I'm low key worried about what I'm thinking, my thoughts. But I hope I'm wrong. And thank you. Thank you.
You are very wrong about this. You have nothing to
I
worry
agree.
about in this instance.
I agree with Zanette. You are so wrong. There's no way they're going to kill her. That would be insanity.
Yeah. No, see,
that would be the equivalent of killing off the.
Try and ruin things for you. You expect to lose the heroes now because of Walking Dead. Walking Dead wrecked that for everybody. So
yeah.
Everybody knows now, oh my gosh, the main person might die tonight.
No.
I'm trying to build this. I'm trying to build this big girl bravado. Like, yeah, she could die tonight. But I don't want that.
No, it will come through.
How did y'all feel about Grandma June? That was heartstring heavy stuff, dude. That
when
was
she died.
So sad.
The whole little game with my grandma. The whole thing.
Really
sad.
That was sad.
Yeah.
It was sad.
That was so
It's just
sad.
like she was losing everybody.
It was. It was really tragic. And I started getting confused.
You reminded me of Gladys. You reminded me of Gladys. You know what I thought about? When we were one of the ongoing things they always talk about is how it's all about legacy and heredity and things passed down. And Angela has a potty mouth. And I thought about that grandma. That's the one thing she got from her grandma. Just say what you need to say. Be what you want to be.
Right.
And that's the only thing she gave her. They only had that one afternoon. It's like, that is so sad. But I sort of knew it was coming because they were playing Every Time You Go Away. I'm like, dude, why are y'all doing this?
Oh my God, you even picked up on that. That's awesome.
Oh my God.
You know what? That's a good point. That music in this series just kind of really jerks you around bad. It really does.
They are genius. Dude, they're so genius. Oh my goodness. It's everything.
When
they get the soundtrack, I can remember.
When Hooded Vengeance was beating the hell out of those Klansmen in the back of that store, they were playing such a beautiful 1940 song, and it was just so incongruous. The two things, whoa! It just messes with you. It just so messes with you.
It reminded me of the scene from. Wait a second.
Whispers.
No. The scene you were talking about, Zanette, where they were playing the 1940s music. Yes. It reminded me of the movie A Brooklyn Tale, when they threw the Molotov cocktail in the car, right? And they were playing This Is a Man's World. Do you guys remember that? Have you ever seen A Brooklyn Tale? Or wait, A Bronx Tale? A Bronx Tale. I'm sorry. A Bronx Tale.
Yeah.
Bronx, not Brooklyn. New York, but whatever. And when they threw the same state, whatever. When they threw the blew up the car and the car was on fire, A Brooklyn Tale. They were playing This Is a Man's World. It was so intense because it was so when I was watching that scene, I was thinking about that because it kind of I was like, oh my God, that's because it's brilliant. Yep. It's actually brilliant because they're so opposite.
It was brilliant. Oh my God. They did an awesome job. They got, and then Angela's kick-ass music. I'm like, this girl is bad. I love her theme. I love the soundtrack. They are on it. Even the music they were playing, I found out later on that it was David Bowie's song they were playing at the end of episode 7. But I just loved it. I didn't know why I loved it so much. And then I was like, oh, David Bowie. Okay.
Which song was it?
Something about Mars. Life from Mars.
Oh.
I think it's called Life from Mars. Oh. But I'm like, dude, they took a lot of characters. They did this.
That might have been David Ziggy Stardust.
This show is so good. Everything is connected, and like I said, there's some things that I didn't like. Like when I think about things that I didn't quite like, I know what they were trying to do, but the whole argument between Will and June that led to her leaving and going to Tulsa, that wasn't really an argument. Like if he trying to take makeup off his son, I didn't get that. It was like overkill, but then I thought about maybe it's been an ongoing issue and this is like the last straw, but it's not like he grabbed the boy by his throat and drug him into the kitchen. He grabbed him by the hand and took him in the kitchen and started taking the stuff off, and she just flipped out. So that I didn't like, but I understood they had to get to a point where she had to leave because she was in Tulsa. I get it, but that was like I said, that in the Jane and Lori, I didn't like those two. Those are the main two things that I didn't quite like about the shows so far. Everything else has been okay, been good.
I'm looking forward to tonight's episode. I'm excited.
I know, because Angela is making it out, so that's what's up.
She's gonna survive.
Well, the thing is, I think it's going to be a combined episode. I think it's going to be a lot of his.
So, do you guys think it'll be wrapped up in just the 2 episodes?
Say it again, Shania. You were breaking up.
Do you think that the episode, the series? Do you think that the series is going to be wrapped up in the 2 episodes?
I think they have to.
You mean the season?
Because the writer said he was only doing this season, so it's not going to be
this one season,
no lingering.
Oh, this is the second season.
No,
I did not know that.
He said the guy, I think his name is David or Daniel Lindelof. He said if someone else wants to take it and do something else with it, they can. But I'm doing this one, and that's it.
Oh wow!
So this is it. That's why it's like, do you call it a mini series or a regular season? You don't know,
right?
You know, exactly
like a limited series.
Executives want to keep it forever as long as they can make money off of it. But a lot of these writers don't want to be committed to this stuff for years and we're not doing all that. So that's the impression I got with this. You only get these 2 episodes. That's my whole point. That these scripts, you don't have any lingering going on in these episodes. Like they tell you what they need to tell you because we have a limited time for this. We can't hold your hand and walk you to the pond and then hand you a cup to drink the water. Like, look, there's a pond, and let's move on to the next. Let's move on. So that's what I like about it.
Did anybody find it kind of? I mean, I wasn't surprised when Angela broke into that room and actually found that an elephant was what she was getting cerebral spinal fluid. I mean, that totally makes sense for me because I was like, there's no way that a human being can be exchanging cerebral spinal fluid circulating into her body that much.
Right.
There's no person big enough for that. So it'd have to be an elephant.
Right.
So that makes total sense to me. That makes
that's what I like, the genius of the story, because when it's happening, I'm so into it. I'm in the moment. I'm not catching their conversation is so nuanced, and sometimes they are so specific about exactly what they say that you have. They're so smart. Let me just say they're so smart, and I'm a little slow sometimes. So when she asked about the grandfather and Lady True just looked at her, I didn't think anything of it until I saw the elephant. No, she never told you it was your grandfather, chick. She just looked at you. She just looked at you. When Jane was on the horse and she was walking to Agent Blake, she had a little cyclops on her hat. Didn't catch that till after everything happened. I'm like, dude.
Who, Jane? Jane had the cyclops on her head?
Yeah, she had a cap on. She was riding her horse. There's a little emblem on the front. I didn't realize it after the fact. But it's not like they're not telling us. They're giving us enough clues that if you're, on top of it, you know what's happening.
All right, let me go back and see that.
I missed that. They're smart, dude. I love them.
I'm looking for it now. I'm searching.
Okay. But this is what bothers me. Thank you for saying. When we start talking about her, I'm worried because Jane wanted Laura, was willing to kill her or have them kill her. And Lauren didn't tell Petey where she was at. She told Petey to wait on her. So it's like the two people that could help save the day, they don't even know it's time to save the day. That's what's sort of bothering me.
No,
Like,
irrelevant. Irrelevant. Just
you say it's irrelevant,
yeah, I do.
But it's relevant because I know they're going to use Lauren to get Dr. Manhattan to do something. I know that's why they got her in Tulsa in the first place. So it's relevant, but I'm really worried about the fact that no one knows where she's at except for the 7 Cavalry people. Like, oh my goodness.
He is going to let her go. That's why it's not relevant.
Huh?
He's going to let her go. You know, he whispered something to her about it's really hard to be a white man in America, so I think I'm going to be a blue one.
Right.
You know?
Yep.
He's not letting Zanette, he's not letting that woman go. He roped her in that chair. He tied her to that chair. There's no reason to let her go if you're going to tie her to a chair.
I never liked him, by the way. But go ahead. Him, I don't like.
I agree.
Right.
Oh,
he's good looking, but him, I don't like.
Let me tell you the other thing. They were saying how smart they are. I'm just giving credit where credit is due. This may be where wordplay is just such a awesome thing. They were talking about how Laurie's dildo vibrator, whatever it was called the Excalibur. And that's for Excalibur. Dude, that was like mind blowing. Like they are so smart. They are so smart. Their wordplay is so deep in this show. Yes.
We would not know that it's called Excalibur because there's nothing. Where was that written?
Okay, calm down, Zanette. It's somewhere written somewhere because they were talking about it. Honestly, what I think it is, no, there's a website. There's a website they use as a that gives like extra information, and I think that's where it is. That it's called the Excalibur. And then they broke down the Excalibur, and I was like, "Oh my God!"
That's not given to the viewer. That's not given to the viewer.
But I'm telling you, but it's still smart.
I'm looking at Lori right here, and what she has, this
black hat
emblem that's on her hat is like it's an S angled just slightly.
Okay, but it could be considered a Cyclops sign. That's what I'm saying. It could be a hint. And you don't believe me? Okay.
Not the way
I thought it could have been a hint, and I didn't catch it. And I was like, dude, if I would just catch stuff like that, because I had a feeling that she was not a good character, but until she pulled out the remote control, I didn't see it coming. Like, but that emblem that you say as an S, that from a distance was like an eye to me, that could have been a hint. The other possible hint that Zanette is getting ready to disclaim, but until she does, I'm going to go on and say it, is they said that if you put Joe Keane together, it's joking. I was like, dude.
Okay. D.
Dude.
D.
Yes.
I'm going to need you to take a deep breath.
These conspiracy theories are just like too much for me.
Oh my God. She's like, let's go to Area 51 and find the aliens.
Too much for me. No, too much.
Listen, let me tell you how I knew Jane was not a good character. And I'm going to tell you from a total woman's perspective, which we all can appreciate.
Okay.
Your husband has an ancient Klansman ensemble in the closet. And you don't know what's in the closet as a woman. How much time do we spend in our closets?
And she
cleaning it out, taking stuff out.
Very, very good point. Good point.
So nothing surprises me about this woman.
Yeah.
True.
Nothing. The cover up is so. Do you are so out of control? The cover up is so intense.
Mhm.
What are you laughing at?
I'm just saying that she never told me about it. Hey, my husband's Klan suit is missing. So it's like, I know something's wrong, but I guess if you won't say anything, I'm not gonna say anything. We're just gonna not talk about it. Like,
Yeah,
okay,
there's no way. There's no way that you know your husband snorts cocaine
Yeah,
and that and you're fine with that. Like you don't even bat an eye when you see that. You actually make a joke about it after dinner, but you don't know he has a Klansman's outfit in the closet. No. I knew. I was like, they're both in on this. I knew that Joe guy who was very with the fake Southern accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's good looking, but his energy was so dark. I was like, no, this guy is not a good guy.
Mhm.
He's not a good guy. Coming from me, that means a lot. He's not a good guy.
right.
Yeah.
So everybody enjoyed the show. We're liking the show.
Yes.
And
Enough.
we're committed to the end of this show.
Yes. Yes.
I'm actually now very surprised, not that you told me that this is actually one season show at this point. It's not determined that it's going to be picked up and carried on.
Really, D? Really, D? Zanette, do you see what she put on the banner? Look at the banner. Joking equals joking.
I'm telling you, the
right there. Yeah.
Oh Lord.
You are determined to make this a reality. Okay.
That's just weird.
Okay.
That's just weird. That's just straight up weird.
I love y'all, but I'm just saying.
Weird.
We'll see what tonight's episode brings. That's so funny.
I think
a lot of people are saying
it. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say a lot of people were what's the word? They're a little apprehensive, only because they understand that Dr. Manhattan had really disconnected with the human condition. That's why he went to live on Mars and so on and so forth. So the haters / comic writers, readers are like, there's no way he came back to Earth to fall in love with Angela and gave up his godliness for human flesh. Da, 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 da. I don't know, because I'm not a comic reader, but I want to know how they met. So I'm committed to the story, but there are people out there that will not be okay with this. Whatever they explain it.
What I'm confused about is up to now, I mean, everything that has been represented in regard to Dr. Manhattan is that he is a god-like being. He is so incredibly powerful. There is no limit to him. So this whole thing about, we're going to kill him, we're going to take him. I'm like, how is that even going to be possible? I mean, like that
machine they have.
I think it's possible
that machine.
Only because the machine. Yeah, the machine.
Yep.
And it was something Lady True said about an hour from now. She didn't say it as if it wasn't happening. She was saying it as if it was already going to happen. And about them killing Dr. Manhattan. And the fact that Cal had that for Who the Bell Tolls was reading that, I was like,
that's a good point.
I think he's gonna self-sacrifice. Honestly, I know you're getting ready to pull me off the ledge, Jeanette, but I thought they both were gonna die tonight. Like both of them, Dr. Manhattan and Angela, out. I hope I'm wrong, but that's sort of where I was thinking. Like I think they're both gone.
No.
I'm just saying to say. I don't know.
We'll see.
I hope that I am wrong. Yeah, but we need 7 Cavalry and Lady Tro to do what they're gonna do, and I just I don't know. And they're in cahoots.
Show is making.
And they're in cahoots, so it's like both of them together, they could do something. Because they have not explained that Angela is bulletproof. So if she's not bulletproof, something could happen. And I just think somebody's gonna die tonight. I'm just saying. I'll be quiet.
No.
I'm just saying.
It just won't be Angela. Somebody may die tonight. It just, I mean, I don't doubt it. I mean, you know, this is a pretty high stressful living situation in which these people find themselves. So it's possible
But
that
it won't be
someone is
Angela.
going to die tonight, but I can almost guarantee you it won't be Angela. There's too much riding on her remaining alive. You've got these 4 freaking kids that she's got to take care of, or however many kids, you know, she's got a freaking army. So, you know, she's not going anywhere.
No,
Yeah.
I agree.
Rest easy. Rest easy, my sunflower.
I mean,
I will.
there's this episode and then another one before the season's
Right.
over. Okay,
That's it.
or the series
One,
goes,
two.
depending on.
And what they usually say, they say HBO usually does, like, they wrap everything up in their penultimate episodes, and then they leave the episodes for groundwork for possible other seasons and stuff. But since he was determined not to do but one season, they may not wrap everything up in this episode. It may still be some lingering mysteries unfolding in 9. I don't know, but I will be watching it, and because it's so good, likely to be so good, as long as none of my people come up harmed, I probably will be rewatching it a couple of times just so I can talk about it again.
Yeah.
Because I am loving this stuff. Like, this is some good television. This is some good television.
I agree.
So if that's it, ladies. We can call it a wrap. Is there anything that I missed?
No, just I just kind of seeing how as the show has gone, it's like everything is just proven to be a hoax. Just everything.
Joking. See, joking. I told you.
Oh my God, Zanette,
Yeah.
I blame you. I blame you right now.
I told you.
I blame you.
I told you.
It's all just been
I'm gonna watch episode 7 again tonight, actually, before the next episode comes on, later on tonight, just so I can just do like a refresher course.
Be fresh.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It was some stuff I did for research that I was just gonna put out there because it wasn't deep research. It was like 30 minutes. Let me see if this is a connection. Like because they always were saying that the people who write and produce shows, they do a lot of work to make sure everything is connected and it has some kind of logic to it. I was trying to figure out
continuity. Continuity.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out why they kept on talking about J.C. Penney's, and I never got a chance to verify it. But I want to say that J.C. Penney's was one of the first places to allow Black people to do orders by catalog. So maybe that's why they were posted up in J.C. Penney's abandoned buildings, like they were like claiming stuff. I guess I don't know. Maybe that's the only big building in their town. I don't know. But if everything has some kind of connection, it could be the J.C. Penney connection to Black folks, since they. Oh, let me just say this about Joe King, because I'm not a white person. So I don't get why he would say I'm not a racist, but then like 5 words later he's like white people. He said something about about white men. I'm like, but why would you, if it's not about race, why'd you mention white men? Like,
right.
That doesn't, sir.
Because a person who's a racist isn't going to tell you, hey.
Yeah, racists don't think they're a racist. They don't think they're a racist.
Yeah. They just think they're doing the right thing.
Yeah, as he put it, is that he's about restoring balance in America, and things have gone too far in the other direction. That's what he
but,
I'm
like, but you just mentioned being a white man. How are you not a racist? But I'm not a racist. Oh, okay.
I'm sorry, though. He's so good looking. He's ridiculously cute.
He's a cutie.
Racist or not, he's ridiculously cute.
He's cute.
Yeah, nasty politicians. Yeah.
I'm hoping Looking Glass either saves Angela or Lori. He has to come back and do something since incognito
I
somewhere.
thought he was dead. I
MIA.
thought when they went in there, I thought he was dead. So I'm really pleased to see that he took them out and they didn't take him out.
Right. Okay, that's the other thing I didn't like. Thank you for saying. Thank you. That reminded me. Okay, I know we're busy and we're watching TV and we may not pay a lot of attention, but when Petey was like, "Yeah, I saw a lot of I think these are dead cavalry members, but one doesn't have his mask on." I was like, "You don't have to do that. Just let us see the man doesn't have his mask on. You don't have to like write it out for us. We're not slow. We know that when he doesn't have his mask, that means Looking Glass has it. But for you to do that, it's like don't dummy down stuff for us. Like, don't do that. We're smart. I mean, I'm not a genius, but
he's a little bit of a dummy kind of guy.
One person's covered and the guy is missing, I'm gonna connect that dot. Like, don't do that.
Right.
That's it. It's like, don't do
Yeah,
that. I'm not.
he didn't do that for you. They did it for that character. That character's a little bit, he lives in the past. He's a historian. He's got his PhDs in history and this and that, but he's really not very good for the present. That's basically what they're trying to say about that character. And he is not not a field agent. He's not a field agent.
I'm going to see the link because we were talking about the Excalibur thing. I think it's on his page in it. There's a Peteypedia page. Mm-hmm. I think that's where they got the Excalibur from. Because like you said, I don't think it was ever in the show. But when they were explaining, they called it Excalibur. I was like, oh my, brilliant, genius.
Actually, speaking about Looking Glass, I loved his episode. I really thought that man can act. He's a good actor. And I
totally
really bought his character in every
100%.
Very
100%.
Very good.
Yeah.
This whole story, actually, honestly,
very nuanced.
They have done a great job of all the backstories. Besides, even Will Reeves with his extracurricular activities, these backstories have been awesome. I'm like,
I so could have done without that. I really could have.
Right. I mean,
the other day was I did Tom Minson. Minson, is that his name? Tom Minson, who was on Sleepy Hollow. I loved him on Sleepy Hollow.
Wait, what character did he play on Sleepy Hollow?
He was Ichabod Crane. He was actually Ichabod Crane. Yes.
Oh my God.
I did not put together that he was I thought these guys
took me a while. It took me a while to get that. It took me a while to get that
together at all. But I was just like,
I literally didn't get it at all.
I love that man.
But you have it now, though. That's all that counts, Carol. You have it when it counts. You have it now.
Oh my God, I'm so ridiculously stupid.
That's why I was going back to the black, blue, white thing, because I'm not sure of who is going to be in this episode. Is it going to be a blued Cal, or is it going to be a blued the butler guy? I wasn't sure where they were going. When I was telling you, I was confused about who.
Wait.
John,
what blued butler?
Who Dr. Manhattan was?
Yeah.
When we talked who Dr. Manhattan was, that's why I was asking the question, because I was curious, were they going to use the actor that played the butler, or were they going to use the actor that played Cal to be the blue guy tonight?
Oh,
because you said he formerly was a white man who became blue and chose to be black. So I was like, is it going to be the white guy that's going to be at the table, or is it going to be Cal at the table?
I'm not really sure, because it seems like the actor who is going to be whoever, he has a blue prosthetic face on. He's going to have
right.
But it sounds, just from the previews, but once again, you can't it sounds like Cal. It sounds like Cal. So
we'll see.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Well, ladies, thank you so much for giving me a little bit of your time to get me off that ledge, because I was so afraid for Angela tonight. Like,
rest easy.
I do feel much better now. I just need to not think about it too much before 8 o'clock gets here. But If I distract myself, I should be fine.
Yeah.
Thank you
Yeah.
for inviting me on, Dee. I really appreciate it. If you guys have an opportunity, Dee, can I just use your platform for 2
Yes.
seconds?
Yes.
If you have an opportunity tonight before the show airs, please go over to my Facebook page over at the Divested Women's Network and review my latest video about Christmas and my existential crisis, and give me some feedback,
You had
please.
a crisis before Christmas?
You're having
Oh, just when you watch the video, D, you're on the ledge. You're on the ledge. Watch the
I
video.
know. I will. I'll do it. I'll do
Okay,
it.
cool.
I'm in. Thank you, Shanae. Thank you, Zanette.
Thank you. Thank
If
you
you
for
guys
having
want to
me.
do it next
Thanks.
week, I will lose my son for an hour or two again for you guys because I do love this show.
I'm
So
totally
very much.
game. Yeah, let me know.
But
I will totally
guys,
do
let
that
Me
next
too.
week.
Yeah, I think
I'm in.
I think I am.
Nice
Yeah.
seeing you guys.
Yeah.
All right, have a good one.
Fun. Thank you
You
very
guys too. Bye.
Bye.
Have a good week. Take care. Bye-bye.